Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you saw my recent uploads, I did a curriculum reveal of my 9th grader and my upcoming 4th grader for this coming year. And I realized when I was doing the 9th grade curriculum that I had not shown y'all her biology. If you haven't seen any of my current flip throughs, I'm showing you the books that we're going to be doing for this upcoming year that we have never really done. A lot of these are ones that we have never used this curriculum at all. So this is not a review. This is not like giving you what I like and don't like about this. This is just showing you what the books look like. So this is a more in-depth look. Like if you go on the website and you want to see what it looks like on the inside, I'm giving you that, but in a more in-depth look. So what we're going to show you today is biology. Specifically, it is Discovering Design with Biology, and this is by Barean Builders. Trying to see, the website that I looked this up on was, I believe it's called Rainbow Resources. I had never heard of that website before. I may use them in the future, but I found this on that website, and then I ended up actually getting these books. Actually, I got the main book from a local bookstore that carries homeschool curriculum, and then some of these other pieces that I'll show you in a second, I did actually order from Rainbow Resources because they didn't, like the dissection kit for the biology, they didn't have that at the bookstore, so I had to order that. So I did, some of this come from the local bookstore, some of this come from Rainbow Resources, and I'll put a link to that website for you in the description box, and I'll also put some links to the curriculum reveals that I showed you for the, just as a whole. It's just short videos to show you what we were using, not in depth in those videos, just a couple little quick short videos. But all the playlists will be in the description box for the flip throughs plus the reveal. Okay, so before I get into it, if you're not familiar with me, hi, my name is Brooke. We are a family of 5. We have 2 that are currently school age. I've got a 13-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So we have upcoming 9th grader and 4th grader. We have been doing this now. This will be our fourth year. We homeschooled a little bit. My older daughter, before 2020, she went to a traditional school, and so did my second daughter. And then when 2020 happened, we brought them home, and we were like, we can do this. We can get back to homeschooling, and we've been doing it ever since. So this is now our 4th year consecutive, 6th year total of homeschooling, because I did homeschool my oldest daughter for kindergarten and first before she went to the regular school. So we've done this a few years. I'm learning things. I do these videos so that I can show you things that we have learned, things that work, don't work, just to give you another perspective. My family is a little bit different, whereas I go to work and my husband stays home. So I have a full-time job, but it is very flexible. My kids can come to work with me and do their school at work. My husband stays home and does the day-to-day. You know, if the kids have any questions, they go to him. But we do not do the traditional sit-down parent and student at home working on subjects. My kids are very independent. We gear a lot towards the student-led curriculum where they learn how to do it themselves with minimal help. I mean, obviously you do teacher checks and we check their work, and I help them plan and make sure that they're staying on track and doing what they need to do and actually understanding what they're doing. But for the most part, they can do it on their own, and I want them to be able to learn on their own so that when they get older, they know how to learn on their own. They don't need somebody holding their hand to teach them something. All right, so enough of that. I'm going to get into it. Discovering Design with Biology. Let me show you all the books. We've got the hardback student book. This is the one that they're going to read all their material out of. And then we have the answer key and the test. And I'll do a flip through so you can actually see the inside of these. And then we have the dissection kit. I will open this up and let you see the little animals that are in here. And then we have the microscope set. My daughter already has a microscope. It's not like the best microscope in the world. She's had it for several years, but according to the power strength that they recommended, it will work. So hopefully it'll work. All right, so we'll start with this. This is a hardback book. This is a nice, good, sturdy book. I've been reading, actually I've got notes in here because I've been looking at this today, and I've actually made some copies of like a schedule and the things that you're going to need for the experiments. I've been looking at that. So I've got a note in here that says 1 chapter for 2 weeks or 45 minutes a day is what they recommend to start with. But they actually had in the appendix, and I'll show you that, a checklist of things that they can do every day. And that seems to work really good for me and my older daughter, for her to be able to see what she's supposed to do every day and check it off. So anyway, let me just turn this around. Normally I turn my camera around and let you see this, but let me adjust this super quick, and then we'll try to do it this way. All right, so not gonna tell you like read word for word, but this is explaining what I was saying about like where they said to do 45 minutes a day, and or one chapter every 2 weeks. Doing one chapter every 2 weeks will get it done in 32 weeks because it's got 16 chapters. That checklist that's in the back gets it done in 36 weeks, so it kind of breaks it down a little bit, drags it out a little bit more. All right, this tells you that it's 16 chapters. This is a Christian-based Christian worldview biology, just in case you don't know, not familiar with me and our subjects that we use. We do Christian biblical worldview. So if that's not what you're into, you might not want to use this. Let's see, it talks about the experiments, and then the Barean Builders website, it has listed right there information about things to do. It does say that you will need a notebook specifically for the experiments for this book. There is a workbook, a student workbook on that Rainbow Resource website, but I didn't order it. I was told that it wasn't absolutely necessary. So when we get into this, if we feel like we're missing something, we'll go ahead and order that. But for now, we're going to try to do it without it. That website that I was telling you about, this says there is a website that accompanies this course and it contains a lot of helpful resources. There are videos explaining most of the key concepts in each chapter, videos of experiments that illustrate several topics in the course but are too difficult or dangerous for you to do, nature videos, and a more detailed discussion of some of the topics in the course if you want to learn even more. In addition, there is a link to a website discussed in the next section that will allow you to ask questions whenever you are stuck or confused. This course website can be found at, and that was right there, freeze frame. Let you get that. Is it focused? I'll put it in the description box too. Question answer service. One of the most important things you need to remember while using this course is that there is a way to get help if you are stuck or confused. Just go to www.askdrwild.com. I'll put that in the description box also. So there's lots of help for this. If I get stuck, my daughter gets stuck and I can't help her, this is going to be me helping my daughter with this. I'm into the biology stuff. I'm into the animals. You might be grossed out that I said there's a dissection kit in here. I'm going to love it. I'm going to be wanting to do this instead of my daughter. I've actually thought about ordering another kit so that we can both do it hands-on because I'm into this stuff. I know that's kind of weird, but I'm into this stuff. All right, so then it opens up to the table of contents, and I'll hold this up so you can see it, freeze frame it, and then you can zoom in and look at it a little bit closer. So Chapter 1, Introduction to Biology. Chapter 2, The Chemistry of Life, Building Blocks of Chemistry, Comparing Starch and Smaller Carbohydrates. Chapter, sorry, I didn't know you couldn't see that. Sorry. Chapter 3, Cells, Cell Division, Genetics, Biotechnology. See if I can get this page turned. Archaea and Bacteria. I'm probably saying that wrong. Microbiology, Invertebrates, vertebrates, fish and amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals, primates and humans, anatomy and classification, plants, physiology, environmental science, ecosystems, and then you're into Chapter 1. So a lot of times what I do with these when I'm doing these flip throughs is I'll show you like what the first day, the first assignment's going to look like. So in this, at the very beginning, Chapter 1, Introduction to Biology. Actually, let me grab real quick where I printed out what you would do. Okay, so according to the schedule, week 1, day 1, it says read the introduction and check out the course website. So that would be all the stuff that I just went over with you, and then that website that I was talking about. Day 2 is read pages 1 through 6. So that would start here. And you've got Bible verses right at the top. Told you this is a Christian curriculum. I'm not sure what Bible they use. I think it says Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That sounds like King James to me. Genesis 2:7. Then the Lord God formed man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living person. I think that's King James. I don't know if they're going to switch around, but that sounds like King James. All right, so page 1 through 6 is day 2, so that would be reading these pages to right there, and then you already have an experiment coming up. And it says on day 3, read pages 7 through 9, performing experiment 1.1 and stopping at section 1.2. So already week 1, day 3, you're doing an experiment. And like I said, you're going to need, it says you're going to need a notebook for the experiments. And then this is the first experiment. It says fruit DNA. It gives the list of supplies. There's also an appendix in the back that tells you what supplies you're going to need for each chapter and each experiment, so that you can get that ahead of time so you're ready. And then detailed instructions. It does say to make sure that you are being smart and cautious with the experiments, and that you have parent supervision along with the student. Don't just let them go wild by themselves. Make sure they're being safe. I'm not exactly sure how the question and answers go. Let me read what it said at the beginning. It says, okay, this book is made up of 16 chapters. Each chapter contains reading and experiments that you need to complete, as well as questions you must answer. So each chapter, I think when you get to the end of the chapter is where the questions are going to be. You are supposed to perform the experiments when they come to you in the reading, because right after the experiment, we will discuss what the experiment means. In addition to the reading and experiments, there are comprehension check questions that you must answer as you progress through each chapter. Answer those questions and then check your answers against the answers that appear right before the chapter review at the end of the chapter. That way you have immediate feedback on how you are understanding the material. So I'm going to go to the end of chapter 1 and see what the questions look like. So chapter 1, and it says, okay, it's got it laid out for week 1 and week 2. At the end of week 2, if you can see that, it says take the test for chapter 1. So it has all the way through, it says read 22 through 25. Okay, here's a I'm like in the middle of the chapter, and there are comprehension questions already. So we got to that experiment on day 3, and then over here, what would be in day 4, there's comprehension check questions. So you got 3 different questions that you're supposed to write the answer down to. I'm not sure if they're supposed to go and check that now. I think I'm going to have my daughter check her questions as she gets to them, not wait till the end of the chapter, because I think that would be confusing. I may have misunderstood the way that introduction was stated, but I'll have her check these. And the answers should be in the answer key. Like I say, how I explained this before, I've never used this, so this is kind of like me opening it up and looking at it and sharing with you what I'm figuring out. So we got experiments, answer to chapter 1 review, but I don't see answer to the comprehension questions. Did it say that those were at the beginning? I think it said that the answers were at the beginning of the chapter. So that is something that I'm going to have to look into and figure out. I'm more of a jump in and figure it out instead of getting it all figured out and then starting. We kind of just jump into it and go and see how it works. So that's what we'll do. So this would be day 4. You'd have the questions already. And then this may also be day 4, maybe moving on to day 5, and there's questions. So it looks like basically every day or every other day they're going to have questions that they have to answer. And then let me see what the experiments look like how many experiments. So we have an experiment in week 1. We have an experiment in week 2. 3 experiments in week 3. Yeah, so it's more than, there's several experiments. I don't think all of them are like detailed, have to use the microscope every time or have to use the dissection kit every time. I think you have some smaller ones mixed in with the kind of big ones. But that is basically what each chapter, oh, here we go. It said at the beginning, that's what confused me. It said the answer to the comprehension questions, they're right here, are before the review. So you got chapter 1 review right here on page 27, and then you have the answer to the comprehension checks right here. So they can flip back here and look at the answers as they're doing their daily work and answering those comprehension check questions as they're going through the chapter. So that's the chapter 1 review. It has 21 questions on the chapter review. So this would be like your chapter 1 test on this page. I'm not sure. I guess I will probably have my daughter use her notebook. She may have 2 notebooks, like one for experiments and one for her questions and answers. So this would be where she would write her answers on a separate piece of paper and then check them. The last question on here says, based on the data we have right now, what is the main thing that natural selection accomplishes? So that's kind of some of the stuff they're going over in that first chapter. And then you're on to chapter 2, and it's got 2 different verses here that's talking about the chemistry of life. Isaiah 45:18, for this is what the Lord says, He who created the heavens, He is the God who formed the earth and made it. He established it and did not create it as a waste place, but formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is no one else. John 1:3, all things came into being through Him, and apart from Him, not even one thing came into being that has come into being. That is not King James, so they're using different Bible versions for this. So these verses, we like to use King James, so I'll probably have my daughter look these verses up in our version of the Bible. But that is what that first chapter looks like, and then we read into the beginning of the second chapter. Let me show you. I like to look at the back of the books. I told you it had the appendixes that had the list of things that you needed for the experiment, and it also had the schedule if you wanted to go by that schedule instead of a time limit every day. Let me get back here to the back. You've got a glossary in the back, definitions of all the words. Let's see what else. I'm not sure. I didn't look at all the appendixes. I only looked at the ones that I made copies of for the schedule and the experiments. Appendix A looks like it's it's so that you can make copies of all these different diagrams that they'll be looking at throughout the book. So you can make colored copies, would probably be helpful if you're wanting to make copies. And then Appendix B was the schedule, and that has you doing this in 36 weeks. Appendix C was the list of materials that you need for the experiments. It says supplies in black are considered household items. Supplies in blue are part of the microscope kit that is made for this course. That is this kit that I'll open up and show you in just a second. Supplies in red are part of the dissection kit that is made for this course. And again, I had to order these separate. I'll put a link to where I ordered those from. The chapter 1, it says you can do all experiments in this chapter without either kit. They're all listed in black, so it says that chapter 1 experiments can all be done with household items. Let me see what the next appendix. We're back. Okay, that's all in the appendix, and we're at the index. Just to let you know where to find things, and I think that is it. All right, so that is a flip. So that is a flip through of this book. Let me show you what the test and answer key look like. So this is a soft black and white book, and table of contents there. If you want to freeze that, zoom in and look. You have chapter tests. You have semester 1 final exam. So after chapter 8, you have an exam. And then you have chapters 9 through 16, and then semester 2 final exam. So it's broken down by chapter and by semester. You've got introduction, talk about the experiments, how to use the book, how to grade if you want to use their grading system, and then it jumps right into answers to the chapter 1 review. I showed that to you in the book. At the end of the chapter, it had the chapter reviews. This is the answer to those. That question that I read to you, the last question about natural selection, the answer they have says, those who believe of evolution produced all that we see must assume it can also produce new forms, but that has not been confirmed by the data. That's what kind of stuff you're learning. All right, then we got tests for chapter 1. This is a different, you had the chapter review in the book itself, and then you have the test in this book. So you may want to make copies of this so that they can look at this and answer it in their notebook, or make a copy of this and they can write on this page, and then the answers to it are right on the back of it. And then we are into answers to the chapter 2 review, which was in the book, and then the test for chapter 2. Let me see if there's anything different in here. It looks like it's chapter reviews and then tests. Oh, let me see what the semester exam looks like. All right, so this is the semester 1 final exam. So this was after chapters 1 through 8. Then you had this. It's 2 pages. Doesn't look too crazy. Excuse me, my voice. I've been kind of sick the last few days, and my voice is a little bit strained. So 2 pages on that, and the answers, yep, the answers are right behind it. Let's see if there's anything else in the back of it. This would be chapters 9 through 16, and then you have the final exam. Yep, there's a semester 2 exam, same thing, 2 pages, and then the answers, and that's it. That's all that's in that book. All right, let me show you the kits. This is the Discovering Designs with Biology microscope slide kit. I ordered this online because we already have the microscope. They did have the option for you buying the microscope and the slide kit if you need the microscope, but we already have one. All right, let me just show you as I'm opening this. I think this is a dropper. Yep, you got your little dropper here. There's 3 of those in there. But here's what it looks like. These, we have already looked at this a little bit because my daughter was curious what it all looked like. This is your slides. Let me see if I can get this open without throwing them everywhere. All right, so all of these are already, they already have something on them. You can kind of see that right there in the middle. All of these slides are pre-labeled and they already have a specimen in the slide. And then you have blank slides. Yep, this box has blank slides in it because they'll be needing to have their own, get their own materials to put on the slides to look at. Let's see what we got here. This is methylene blue solution for looking at things on the slide. These are the little covers. When you're looking on the slide, you have the, the plastic slide. You put your specimen or whatever in the middle of it, and then you have these little tiny covers that go on top of it, so that when you're looking with, if you've never used a microscope, so that when you are using the little eye of the microscope and you're getting it closer and closer, if you got some liquid right there, you're not actually going to touch your microscope to the specimen, with the liquid or whatever you're looking at. You're going to have this protective little cover over top of it. I think there's a name. It says microscope cover glasses. So a little glass piece that goes on top of it, so you have a protective piece over top. I think this is more solution. And it was packaged very well. Very little chance of this stuff leaking. Let me get this all the way pulled out. This is some more solution. Iodine, potassium, iodine solution. Iodine, potassium, iodide solution. So that's some more solution for using your slides. Was that it? All right. That was it in that kit. Let me show you the dissection kit. There are animals in here. If you don't want to see the animals, then you might want to fast forward a little bit. All right, so it comes with your little kit that has your tools in it. Let me show you what comes in this. Again, we've already opened this because we were very curious. I'm excited for this. I was the kid that was, the tomboy out in the yard, finding all kind of critters and animals. Wanted to be a veterinarian when I grew up, so I'm all for the animal stuff. All right. If this makes you queasy, this is the dissection kit. You may not want to watch this part. All right, so here are the little tools that come in this little case. I think this case is neat. It's almost like a leather feel zipper case, and it has all of the sharp instruments that you're going to need for your dissection. This has surgical blades. Again, you need to supervise your child with this. This will not be within reach of my other children, for sure. This will definitely only be used with adult supervision. All right, so that is that. And then it also comes, you got PTC paper. I'm not exactly sure what that's for. It'll let me know in the experiments. There are some feathers in here. I think you're going to be looking at feathers. I don't know. I can't remember what the feathers were for, but there's 2 little feathers in here. And then there's little information about how to use this tray. And then here's what we've got. This is a heavy duty metal tray that has like a rubber piece in here, so that when your specimen is in here, it's not gonna slide around. But this is pretty heavy. This is a heavy duty tray. I'm really glad this is here, that we had something to put the dissection on instead of like me trying to find something. All right, so let me put that up. And next I'm gonna be pulling out the animals. I may have to cut this part off. I don't know if YouTube is going to not allow me to put this on here or not. So if you don't see the animals, it's because I decided to edit it off and not show you. If I have to edit it off, I'll just put a link to the website where you can see the animals on the website for their kit. So we have a frog. I'm not showing you very detailed because I'm thinking YouTube might not like this. We have a worm, like just a regular earthworm. We have a small fish. So that is it. You saw everything that we have with the Design with Biology Berean Builders curriculum. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if it was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and be sure to check out the playlist of all the other flip throughs and the curriculum reveals. Hope y'all have a great day. Bye.